صلى الله على محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم.
Chapter on some strategies of the Battle of Badr and Uhud. Narrated Abu Usaid, may Allah be pleased with him, on the day of the Battle of Badr, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to us, "When the enemy comes near to you, shoot at them, but use your arrows sparingly, so that your arrows should not be wasted." Narrated Abu Usaid, may Allah be pleased with him, on the day of the Battle of Badr, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said to us, "When your enemy comes near to you, shoot at them, but use your arrows sparingly." Narrated Al-Bara bin Azib, may Allah be pleased with him, on the day of the Battle of Uhud, the Prophet, peace be upon him, appointed Abdullah bin Jubair as chief of the archers, and 70 among us were martyred. On the day of the Battle of Badr, the Prophet, peace be upon him, and his companions had inflicted 140 casualties on the mushrikun. 70 were taken prisoners, and 70 were killed. Abu Sufyan said, "This is a day of revenge for the day of the Battle of Badr, and the issue of war is undecided with alternate success." Narrated Abu Musa that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "The good is what Allah gave us later on, after the day of the Battle of Uhud, and the reward of truthfulness is what Allah gave us after the day of the Battle of Badr." Footnote: this is a part of a longer hadith in which a dream of the Prophet, peace be upon him, is mentioned, and this part is a part of its interpretation. See hadith number 4081, and also see volume 9, hadith number 7035. Narrated Abdul Rahman bin Auf, while I was fighting in the front file on the day of the Battle of Badr, suddenly I looked behind and saw on my right and left 2 young boys, and did not feel safe by standing between them. Then one of them asked me secretly, so that his companion may not hear, "O uncle, show me Abu Jahl." I asked, "O nephew, what will you do to him?" He said, "I have promised Allah that if I see him, that is Abu Jahl, I will either kill him or be killed before I kill him." Then the other boy said the same to me secretly, so that his companion should not hear. I would not have been pleased to be in between 2 other men instead of them. Then I pointed him, that is Abu Jahl, out to them. Both of them attacked him like 2 hawks till they knocked him down. Those 2 boys were the sons of Afra, that is, an Ansari woman. Narrated Abu Huraira, may Allah be pleased with him, Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, sent out 10 spies under the command of Asim bin Thabit al-Ansari, the grandfather of Asim bin Umar ibn al-Khattab. When they reached a place called Al-Hada between Usfan and Mecca, their presence was made known to a sub-tribe of Hudayl called Banu Lihan. So they sent about 100 archers after them. The archers traced the footsteps of the Muslims till they found the traces of dates which they had eaten at one of their camping places. The archers said, "These dates are of Yathrib, that is, Al-Madinah," and went on to tracing the Muslims' footsteps. When Asim and his companions became aware of them, they took refuge in a high place. But the enemy encircled them and said, "Come down and surrender. We give you a solemn promise and covenant that we will not kill any one of you." Asim bin Thabit said, "O people, as for myself, I will never get down to be under the protection of an infidel. O Allah, inform your Prophet, peace be upon him, about us." So the archers threw their arrows at them and martyred Asim. 3 of them came down and surrendered to them, accepting their promise and covenant. And they were Khubayb, Zayd bin al-Dathina, and another man. When the archers got hold of them, they united the strings of the arrow bows and tied their captives with them. The 3rd man said, "This is the first proof of treachery. By Allah, I will not go with you, for I follow the example of these." He meant the martyred companions. The archers dragged him and struggled with him till they martyred him. Then Khubayb and Zayd bin al-Dathina were taken away by them, and later on they sold them as slaves in Mecca after the event of the Battle of Badr. The sons of Al-Harith bin Amr bin Nawfal bought Khubayb, for he was a person who had killed their father, Al-Harith bin Amr, on the day of the Battle of Badr. Khubayb remained imprisoned by them till they decided unanimously to kill him. One day, Khubayb borrowed from a daughter of Al-Harith a razor for shaving his pubic hair, and she lent it to him. By chance, while she was inattentive, a little son of hers went to him, Khubayb, and she saw that Khubayb had seated him on his thigh while the razor was in his hand. She was so much terrified that Khubayb noticed her fear and said, "Are you afraid that I will kill him? Never would I do such a thing." Later on, while narrating the story, she said, "By Allah, I had never seen a better captive than Khubayb. By Allah, one day I saw him eating from a bunch of grapes in his hand while he was fettered with iron chains, and at that time there was no fruit in Mecca." She used to say, it was food Allah had provided Khubayb with. When they took him to Al-Hil out of Mecca sanctuary to martyr him, Khubayb requested them, "Allow me to offer a 2 rak'ah prayer." They allowed him, and he offered 2 rak'ah prayer and then said, "By Allah, had I not been afraid that you would think I was worried, I would have offered more." Then he invoked evil upon them, saying, "O Allah, count them and kill them one by one, and do not leave any one of them." Then he recited, "As I am martyred as a Muslim, I do not care in what way I receive my death for Allah's sake, for this is for the cause of Allah. If He wishes, He will bless the cut limbs of my body." Then Abu Sarwar, Uqba bin al-Harith, went up to him and killed him. It was Khubayb who set the tradition of offering salah, prayer, for any Muslim to be martyred in captivity before he is executed. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told his companions of what had happened to those 10 spies. On the same day, they were martyred. Some Quraish people, being informed by Asim bin Thabit's death, sent some messengers to bring a part of his body so that his death might be known for certain, for he had previously killed one of their leaders in the Battle of Badr. But Allah sent a swarm of wasps to protect the dead body of Asim, and they shielded him from the messengers who could not cut anything from his body. Narrated Nafir, Ibn Umar, may Allah be pleased with them, was once told that Sayyid bin Zayd bin Amr bin Nawfal, one of the warriors of the Battle of Badr, had fallen ill on a Friday. Ibn Umar wrote to him late in the forenoon. The time of the Friday Salah, prayer, approached, and Ibn Umar did not take part in the Friday Salah. Narrated Subayya bint al-Harith that she was married to Sayyid bin Khawla, who was from the tribe of Bani Amr bin Lu'ay, and was one of those who fought in the Battle of Badr. He died while she was pregnant during Hajjatul Wada. Soon after his death, she gave birth to a child. When she completed the term of delivery, that is, became clean, she prepared herself for suitors. Abu Sanabil bin Barkak, a man from the tribe of Bani Abdiddar, called on her and said to her, "What? I see you dressed up for the people to ask you in marriage. Do you want to marry? By Allah, you are not allowed to marry unless 4 months and 10 days have elapsed after your husband's death." Subayra in her narration said, "When he, that is, Abu Sanabi, said this to me, I put on my dress in the evening and went to Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, and asked him about this problem. He gave the verdict that I was free to marry, as I had already given birth to my child, and ordered me to marry if I wished.